Welcome to the Bowers Museum. We're so happy to have you with us, and we want to thank the Nicholas Endowment that has made all of this possible. We are presenting the Mexican Days of the Dead, and it's a very special festival for us. We've been doing this festival here at the Bowers for almost 23 years, and we feel that we are one of the best festivals. We love our festival, and when we have it in real life, we have about 5,000 people filling our courtyard, enjoying all the things we have to offer and all the things we have to celebrate, especially the lives of the people that we love so dearly that are not with us anymore. The Days of the Dead in Mexico is one of the most important festivals of all the year, next to Christmas. Now, in the early days, in the Mesoamerican days before the Spanish conquest, it was an indigenous festival. It was a celebration of the dead. Now, when the Catholic missionaries came in, there was only so much they could do to convert the indigenous people. And this is something that's very unique in Mexico and Latin America, in the Catholic Church. Something happened, something was done that was called synchronization. And this is a blending. In this case, it was a blending of indigenous belief, celebrating the dead, and the Catholic holidays of All Souls and All Saints Days. Coming together became Dia de los Muertos.
Hello, my name is Martin Espino, and I'm a scholar of the music of ancient Mexico. And I wrote some notes down here because we have a very limited amount of time for the audience, so please forgive me if I look down a little bit every once in a while. And I just want to let you know I've been presenting Day of the Dead programs since the early 80s. And in case you don't know, El Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is basically just about remembering and honoring the loved ones who have passed on. They could be friends, family, even a pet that you loved. It's something that you, or someone that you loved, that has gone on. Part of indigenous thought in ancient Mexico is very common, like in other places around the world. We believe that when someone passes on, that they move on to a better place, a happier existence, if you will, a better state of being. So what I want to do is simply play music from this better state of being. What does it sound like over there in the más allá, in the beyond? So I decided, this is a happy time because we acknowledge the other side of the coin. Life, death. Nothing scary. We're not honoring death, we're just recognizing it. Don't misread. It's a recognizing. So I decided I'm going to do happy music and celestial music, heavenly music. I'm also going to read a poem, because I'm not going to stop. I'm going to go all the way through. I'm going to read a poem about life and death by King Nezahualcóyotl, who was alive during the 1400s. And of course, this poetry was memorized and recited later. Indigenous thought in ancient Mexico was basically, life is short, live it to its fullest, be positive. Can you believe this? This is what they thought back then. Be positive, live a good life, treat your fellow man kindly. Interesting words. Because here's the main thing, because none of us can remain. And now I want to do like a little, sort of like a blessing or a good luck thing. Tlazohcamati inin quetzaltonali. In the Nahuatl language, it means thank you for this beautiful day. Tlazohcamati inin Quetzalmasehuali. Thank you for all of you beautiful people. Wentli and Machmaco de Cuicayoc. And now a gift for you, some sacred music. Fugacidad universal. Perhaps does one truly live on this earth? Not for always on this earth, only for a little while. Only for a little while here. Although it be made of jade, it will fall apart. Although it be made of gold, it will break. Even if it's made of the feathers of the beautiful quetzal bird, it is torn. We're not always here on this earth. Only for a little while. Ihuiohuaye Anochipa tlaltikpak sanachika yenikan Telka chachiwitl no shamani No teocuitlatl intlapani No quetzali teposki Anochipa tlaltikpak sanachika yenikan. Not for always on earth, only for a little while here. So you live the best you can. You do the best you can do. Thank you very much. Gracias. Tlasokamati Wilmiak.
Now, there's a lot of celebration that goes on. There's a lot of preparation that goes on. This time of year in the marketplaces in Mexico, you'll see stacks of baked goods, sugar skulls, different things that can be put, the marigold flowers, different things that can be put on the ofrenda. And let me tell you that the ofrenda is the cornerstone of the entire festival, because the ofrenda, which means offering, is a memorial altar to those people that have left us that we love so dearly. Now, there are certain traditional elements that go on an ofrenda, which is a memorial altar, that are very, that should be on every ofrenda. Now, first of all, because it is a Mexican celebration and a religious celebration, but it doesn't have to be religious if the person that you are honoring is not religious. Remember, we are making this for the person that we are honoring, be they Jewish, Muslim, atheist, or Catholic. But in this one, we're doing a traditional Mexican ofrenda. So the most important icon in the Mexican religion, and also in the Americas, is Our Lady of Guadalupe. So we have Our Lady of Guadalupe here. Then, let me just go back just a little and tell you that first of all, what we have to do is please the Spirit. When the Spirit comes back, they look at their ofrenda and they say, oh, they really liked me. They went all out to do something very nice for me. So you want to put out the finest linens. That's what you start out with. Then you take copal, which is an incense, which is the sap of the copal tree. You light it, and the incense sanctifies and purifies your ofrenda. After you have your religious icon here, then you have a picture of the person that's being honored. These are different people that have been important in my life. My mother. Now, here is a couple, and this is called a calaca. A calaca is a humorous art piece, something done by artisans, which many times has a little bit of humor to it. But actually, you will see in these days, you'll see a lot of bride and groom calacas topping a wedding cake, because what it signifies is love after death, that love goes on after death. Now, you have your beautiful textiles and linens, your picture icon, the picture of your loved ones, then a sugar skull. And this is fairly new. It's not an ancient tradition, but it brings sweetness to the Spirit. Now remember, all this time we are preparing for the Spirit to come back to be with us. And it's a time of celebration, because wouldn't you be happy to be with that person once again and to please them? Remember, we're trying to please the Spirit all this time. Now, marigold flowers are very important in the tradition of the ofrenda, because they have a very pungent fragrance to them. So that leads the Spirit from the other world to its ofrenda, that pungent fragrance. You have the traditional Day of the Dead bread, and the little sesame seeds on the bread signify tears. Candles help the Spirit find their way to their ofrenda. It lights the way, it lights the path. Marigold flowers from the door of the house to the ofrenda also guide the Spirit to their offering. Favorite foods. Here we have some tamales. Okay. Here we have some Mexican candies. These are all to please the spirit. Here is salt, which is the spice of life. Water, because the spirit, after its long journey, is going to be thirsty. Now, the favorite drinks of the spirit, okay? And remember, if you put these bottles out for the spirit, you must open them because it has to be ready to be drunk by the spirit. Some Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's very important on the ofrendas. You'll always see Coca-Cola in a Mexican ofrenda in Mexico because it's the favorite drink, and in the small villages, it's a luxury. So the spirit comes back and says, oh, look, they got me some Coke, some beer, and some tequila. Now, a chair, when the spirit comes back, it needs a place to rest. So a chair. In a ofrenda in your home, you would have a chair right by the ofrenda. Remember, everything is in memory of the spirit. And here's a dog that meant a lot to the spirit, to the person that has departed. Now, there's a bit of humor, kind of like a comic relief with an ofrenda. And one of those is to put money on the ofrenda. That's because although you welcome the spirits back and you love to be with the spirits during this time, if they hang around too long, they might get in trouble. They might get in mischief. So you want to make sure that money is not an obstacle to getting back to where they're from. Also during this time, you will see a lot of Day of the Dead art, toys, okay. There you are. I hope you will enjoy putting an ofrenda. It can be very emotional, but it can be very healing. And it's a reminder to the family and all the loved ones that although this person is not with us in body anymore, they'll always be in our hearts and they'll be here in spirit. So build your own ofrenda. You will really enjoy it. There are a couple things I did forget I want to mention. Okay, the butterfly. There are two thoughts on the butterflies. One is that when the monarch butterflies come back to Mexico yearly, and it's a beautiful, beautiful sight to see all these monarch butterflies come back, that it's the spirits coming back. Now, the other thought is that in ancient Mexico, when a person died as a warrior or a mother in birth, they came back. That was the highest death. They came back as a butterfly and they circled the sun. And I feel that all of us have been warriors, especially in this time. So, butterfly on the ofrenda. The other thing is the hummingbird. In Mexican belief and legend, it is believed that if you did not have a chance to say goodbye to someone that has departed, a hummingbird appears to you as a sign that the person is thinking of you and they know that you love them. When my Aunt Helen died, I had a hummingbird come to me a couple weeks later and just went all around my head. I had never experienced that before. So it's a beautiful legend. So once again, this is our ofrenda. Thank you.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Flowers Museum in Santa Ana, California, celebrating Día de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos a este lugar, Flowers Museum de Santa Ana, que celebramos para ustedes el Día de los Muertos. Un aplauso para estos niños. Estos son los niños de la escuela, el programa de ritmo Mariachi Inc. de la ciudad de Anaheim. Vamos a cantar para ustedes varias canciones. These are the children from the Ritmo Mariachi program in the city of Anaheim, California, performing and singing for you quite a few songs of the Mexican most antique and traditional mariachi songs. We will start with the mariachi anthem, El Son de la Negra. Our first singer of the evening is a man who lives here in Santa Ana. We call him the youngest charro in the mariachi ritmo. His name is Felipe Felipón Cañones.
Buenas tardes, yo me llamo Felipe Quiñones, tengo 14 años, les voy a cantar una canción que se llama Rey, espero que les guste. Palabra
Muchas gracias al público presente, aunque estamos con separación de distancias y con las mascarillas. Este programa es para ustedes. I'm saying that thank you to the few people, especially the parents of the kids who are with us today, keeping the safe distances and all the protocols due to the pandemic. But here we are celebrating this beautiful festivity who comes from ancestors, the Aztec Indians or ancestors who were introduced to Christianity, and then we adopted it, and we celebrate now the Day of the Dead. Most of the families at their houses, they prepare an altar with pictures of the dead deceased family members, with the flowers, and they place food plates, especially those who were enjoyed by the deceased. So we celebrate in family, and we celebrate now according to the whole community. And we are happy to be here at the Bowers Museum. Thank you to Genevieve Barrios Holgate for organizing this beautiful festivity here at the Bowers Museum. Every year, for many years now, we've been invited to perform for you. Reading then from the Bowers Museum, celebrating Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Our next performer, we have a beautiful, beautiful girl who comes all dressed with a chalo suit and a hat. I'm talking about Mila Stubbs. ¿Cómo se dice tu nombre, Mila?
Mi nombre es Mila Stubbs Ramirez. My name is Mila Stubbs Ramirez.
Go! 1, 2, 3.
Con mi ventanita, con
García, vengo de Garden, California, tengo 13 años y voy a cantar una canción que se llama Mi Ranchito. Espero que les guste. Voy a cantar una canción que se llama La Basurita. Espero que les guste.
¿De dónde vienes, Ariana? ¿De dónde vienes?
Vengo de Santana, California.
¡Hola, Santana!
Por un desierto, buscando oriente, encontré el ocaso, buscando dicha, encontré el dolor. Yo un desierto, buscando aliento contra el ocaso, buscando dicha, encontré el dolor. Hola, buenas tardes, yo me llamo Madison Romero, tengo 14 años, vengo de Anaheim, California, y les voy a cantar una canción que se llama La Canción Mexicana, espero que les guste. Hi, my name is Madison Romero, I'm 14 years old, I come from Anaheim, California, and today I'm going to sing you guys a song called La Canción Mexicana. I hope you like it. Llena de emociones me encuentro con mi jarana. Voy a rendir homenaje a la canción mexicana. Voy a rendir homenaje a la canción más galana, la canción más primorosa que es la canción mexicana. Hacer besos de montones no hay como el americano. Para conquistar corazones, lo mejor que un mexicano. ¿Y cómo es que lo consiguen si no cantando canciones como Cielito lindo que alegra los corazones?
Canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegra, cielito lindo, los corazones.
Esta canción mexicana la que se merece honor, por ser la más primorosa y alimento en el amor. Hay canciones extranjeras que brotan la pasión, pero ni una se compara con esta dulce canción. Y si Adelita quisiera ser mi novia, y si Adelita fuera mi mujer, le compraría un vestido de seda para llevarla a bailar al cuartel. Thank you.
Gracias. Okay. Well, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this celebration, Dia de los Muertos online. Trying to keep in touch with you, our supporters. Thank you all who come year after year to this celebration. Thank you, Genevieve. Genevieve, thank you very much. Every year we're here for our people, our community, and especially in support of the Bowers Museum. It really means a lot for the mariachi program. And one last round of applause. Un aplauso fuerte a estos niños. Hacemos la reverencia.
At this point in the festival, we want to hear from you. Now, if you had fun in this with the festival, please type in the comment box fun. If you learned something new, please type learn. And if you value these experiences, please type value. Thank you so much.
So today's art project is making sugar skulls. For this art project, you just need 3 ingredients, which is regular sugar, meringue powder, and water. And then you need the molds and some cardboard squares to complete the art project. So we're going to start with the sugar. So the ratio is 1 cup of sugar to 1 teaspoon of meringue powder and 1 teaspoon of water. So I'm going to start with the sugar, and I'm going to start with let's say 10 cups. 2, okay, 9, and 10. Okay, and then 1 cup of sugar or the mixture will give you about 2 of these medium-sized sugar skulls, or about 1/2 of the large ones. So you need at least 2 to 3 cups just to make the large one. Okay, so now we're going to add the meringue powder. So we're going to need 10 teaspoons. 10. And then this is what keeps the sugar together, so I'm always very generous with this part. Okay. And then we're going to mix the dry ingredients before adding the water. Okay. So now that it's mixed, we can add the water. So it's going to be 10 teaspoons of water. And this takes the longest part, which is mixing it all together. So at the end, it's going to feel like beach sand, like wet beach sand. So you have to make sure that the water is mixed with the entire dry materials and that there's no lumps of water anywhere. Okay, now it looks pretty well mixed. Now to try to see if it's good to go, you're going to grab some in your hand and you're going to lightly squeeze, and then if it stays in place, then you're good to start. So now that it's ready, we're going to start making the sugar skulls. Okay. So for that, we need the molds. So I'm going to start with the medium one. And then I always have, it's kind of like cardstock, and this helps to scrape off the extra sugar from the top. And then you're going to place the sugar skulls on the cardboard to dry. All right. So always start with the teeth at the bottom and the eyes. So you're just going to press it in and push it in. And then I use this to scrape off the sugar. And then I also use it to smooth it out and to take away any extra sugar along the edges. Then I grab the cardboard and I bring it over to the table and I take off the mold. And there's one. Yeah. And then you can reuse the mold about 2 or 3 more times. But more than that, it gets really sticky and they won't come out as well. So normally every year I make about 1,000 sugar skulls for the Mexican Day of the Dead Festival at the Bowers Museum. So we give them away for free, so I have to make around 600 for the festival. And then we have a senior arts program where I make about 300 for that. And then an after-school program, so that's around another 60. And then I usually have orders coming in as well, so that's like another 200-300. So this year is like the easiest sugar skull making year ever. So I only have to make about 300 this year. So I haven't made that little sugar skulls in years. So now that we've done the sugar skulls, now it's time to make the frosting. So for the frosting, you actually need a stand-in mixer. And then I always use the recipe that we get from Mexican Sugar Skull website. So that's where we order our molds and the coloring, the food coloring. So on the back of every mold order, that's always like the recipes, the instructions. So I always need them every year to remember. Okay. So usually I make a lot of frosting because again, the 1,000 sugar skulls. So usually it's 2 pounds of powdered sugar for 1 color. And then you also need the meringue powder and water. So that's all you need to make the frosting as well. So the sugar, meringue powder, and water. So I already did some So this is what it comes out to. So this is just the white frosting. So this is without adding any food coloring. So I use this to actually glue the large sugar skulls together. So you can see the white frosting. So that's what I use to glue them together. So the frosting dries hard, so it's like glue. So since I don't need to make a ton of frosting this year, I'm just gonna mix it in a cup. So I already did most of them. So I have the yellow, orange, black of course, pink, green, and the white. So now the only colors that's missing is the teal green. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm just gonna reuse this white, frosting. So if you're making the frosting from the beginning, you would just separate the frosting into different cups and then add the coloring to each one. Okay. And then you need the gel food coloring, not the liquid. Oh, I forgot. Ugh. And always have paper towels. Okay. So then I'm going to mix it. So now if you have the frosting bags, then of course use that. So we use the snack bags, and then expect to get food coloring everywhere. So we use snack bags, also our little frosting bags. So you put it in the corner, and then you close it off. And then this can last, so the frosting will slowly dry as well. So it lasts about 2 weeks in the bags, and then you will see it start to harden. And I know I've used it before to make gingerbread houses in December, so sometimes it lasts quite a while. And then the last step is just tying it. So you're gonna squeeze it in towards the corner and then just tie some yarn around it. And this helps especially with younger children when they're squeezing it out. If it's not there, it kind of explodes outwards. So this just helps it. So that's how you get all your frosting ready to decorate a sugar skull. Okay, so now comes kind of the last part, which is decorating the sugar skull. So hopefully the next day all your sugar skulls have survived and they haven't disintegrated. So for example, I have this small sugar skull that's kind of okay, but if I push down, you can kind of see the sugar just coming out. So if you get your sugar skull and you kind of squeeze and sugar comes out, it did not survive. And it has to be thrown away. And then I have this one too so for the large ones, you have to scoop out the inside so it's not as heavy when you glue it together. And then I scooped it out, but then it didn't survive. So you can kind of see here, it's just degrading. See? So all of that did not survive. So again, to the trash. But this one, this one came out really nice. I love it when they come out. So this one, I can squeeze it, I can rub it, and no sugar. So this one is perfect. Okay, so now I can decorate it with the frosting. So for this one, you're gonna need lots of paper towels. You're going to get frosting everywhere. You're going to need scissors for the frosting bags. You're going to need sequins if you have them, feathers, flowers, foil, and of course I have some samples. So for example, these large ones were made more than 10 years ago. This one I made last year, I think, more than 10 years ago, yesterday, and more than 10 years ago. Okay, so for the frosting, you're going to cut just the very tip of it. So always start out with a small cut, and then you can always go bigger. And you're gonna test it on the napkin, so you can kind of see how it's gonna come out. So you can try doing leaves. I'm gonna cut. Right. Yeah, I'll cut it. Try to decide your color, so maybe you don't have to cut them all. Okay. For sure the black one. And then some are runnier than others, so sometimes they flow out easier. Sometimes the ratio, the frosting is just stiffer than other colors. So just familiarize yourself with each color. That one's more watery. Okay. And then the frosting acts like glue as well. So if you want to add flowers, feathers, or the sequins, you're just adding a bit of frosting, and then you're just sort of pushing it into it. So it's like glue. Okay. So here we go. I'm not the best decorator since I only have to do this once a year. But let's see. I'm going to start with the eyes. Here we go. So you're just slightly squeezing the frosting bag, making sure it's in contact with the sugar skull. I'm gonna add some sequins for eyes. Maybe some pink. So again, the frosting acts as the glue. So I'm going to fill. And the frosting dries pretty quickly as well, so try to avoid the fresh frosting. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the teeth. Is it the best? No. But it's still fun. I'm gonna add a big flower at the top. Let's see what kind of flower. A giant flower. And I'm going to fill it in once it dries. And we got some leaves on the sides. I'm gonna add a tiny flower on the chin. I'll do pink. And some leaves again. All right, so be careful when you're handling it. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in the flour. I'm going to fill it in. And then right in the center, I'm going to add little tiny sequins in it. More color. Okay. And then of course, I have some feathers and flowers that I didn't use at all, but maybe on the next time. All right. So then just wait for it to dry before you can pick it up. So it's going to dry hard, just like the sugar skulls did, so then you can handle it. But sometimes the frosting will flake off. As you can see in these older ones, parts of it are missing, so just be careful. I like that one with the flowers as eyes. You can also add foil. So there's this foil. You can add names in the front. So here they just did it without the foil, but you can also add the foil with a name on top. You just need the frosting again to act, as glue. Okay, it's okay. All right, and that's it. I hope you have a good Dia de los Muertos making sugar skulls. Before I forget, I just want to remind everyone to not eat the sugar skulls. So you saw them being made. They're just made out of sugar, meringue powder, and water. But you're touching it so many times. Other people will be touching it. So don't eat it. Plus, it's just sugar, which is not that good for you. So you shouldn't be eating it anyway. So I hope you enjoy it. But remember, don't eat it.
You know, every month we have a food recipe for you with the theme of the festival. And this month it's gorditas, little fat tortillas. Okay, thank you so much for being with us at our Day of the Dead Festival. Join us next month when we're going to have an international dance festival. Thank you so much to the Nicholas Endowment. They make all of this possible.